How we got here is as irrelevant as who we are. What matters is the music and the message. We are here to serve Sleep and project his message. A statement from Vessel, the frontman for the mysterious masked rock band from London, Sleep Token. Since 2016, Sleep Token has been on the scene, being weird and mysterious and making music that has blown listeners away with its eclectic fusion of seemingly incompatible genres. These spooky UK lads made waves with their first 2 albums, but it wasn't until 2023 that the band really broke out and reached a wider audience with the promotion of their 3rd album, Take Me Back to Eden. The promo strategy for the album was simple, but aggressive. 6 of the 12 tracks on the album were released as singles, with 4 of those singles being released within the first 3 weeks of January 2023. This rapid succession of singles served its purpose. The band jumped from having less than 300,000 monthly listeners on Spotify at the start of January to more than 1.58 million by the end of the month. The world was no longer sleeping on this band. Although critics have mixed reviews of Sleep Token's latest album, it's undeniable that their audience is infatuated with them. From the obvious mystery of who these masked musicians actually are, to their bizarrely named god they claim to worship through their music, Sleep Token has built a compelling narrative around themselves that fans delight in as much as, if not more than, the music itself. Whether by divine intervention or by calculated marketing strategy, Sleep Token certainly has a hold on their listeners. That's right, we're talking Chokehold by Sleep Token on Cover Me.
You got me in a chokehold.
That's right, it's Cover Me, the only podcast that compares famous songs to their many cover versions to find out which one has done the impossible. I'm your host, as always, The Snake, joined by my sacred co-host,
Alex Mildenberger.
Alex Mildenberger. Alex, what's going on?
Oh, what is going on? Normal stuff, life stuff.
Normal stuff, life stuff.
Yeah. You know,
I hope you never get
good stuff.
interrogated by a cop, because they are going to think that you've done everything
like
wrong.
normal things of like things that like
stuff.
a human would do, you know, like
Yeah, normal human guy stuff.
No, just getting ready for the next. I mean, it's kind of the calm before the storm, because the summer was hectic and then things calm down, and then holiday season's always hectic and always starts a little earlier than you expect it to. So
Right.
just kind of in between there.
Do you consider Halloween part of the holiday season?
Not really. No.
No. Okay.
It can be.
My next question: you traditionally have been alone on Halloween's, Halloweens, as we call them. Now you're coupled up. Does that change your Halloween strategy going into it this year?
We have not established a Halloween strategy, really.
Okay.
So probably, but I don't know exactly
Dangerous.
how yet.
You got to get on top of that. I keep telling you got to go as Lone Wolf McQuade from the Chuck Norris film Lone Wolf McQuade.
Is that a couple's costume?
You can figure it out.
Lone Wolf McQuade. Yeah, I see no reason why I couldn't dress like that. I need a new belt.
Yeah, but like in terms of body hair, you're fucking there already.
Yeah.
And you and Chuck Norris are both proponents of clean living, so
I'm very much like Chuck Norris. In
quite a few ways.
Yeah, in many ways, and I don't think I need to elaborate on that at all.
No. But we do need to elaborate on what we're doing here today, which is talking about a band that neither you nor I have familiarity with, and that's why we've brought on an expert. A man who's been here 1,000 times before I counted. It's that many episodes exactly.
Wow.
You know him as Mr. Noise Buried Games. It's John Bell.
It's me. Wait, is this 1,000 or 1,001?
Oh, you're right. Sorry, it's been 1,000 before this.
Okay.
So this would be 1,001.
Hey, that's still a really cool number. Let's celebrate.
Yeah, a nice
palindromic
symmetrical number. John, welcome back. It's been not even a month.
It's been mere weeks.
It's been mere weeks since we last heard from you, and you're back.
Thank
Welcome
you.
back.
Thank you for bringing me back.
Thank you for coming back. Thank you for suggesting this strange band I would have never heard of otherwise.
Thank you for taking it on. I'm amazed.
It was tricky, but you helped, because I was like, what song do you want us to do? And you're like, honestly, if you're going to find cover, it's going to be for one of these two songs.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm amazed you managed to put together a playlist, but I think we've got a pretty solid playlist to talk about today.
Yeah, I think it's not bad. There's a little bit of like YouTube like nonsense covers in there, but I think overall there's some strong features here. John, while the listeners are still paying attention, tell them everything about Noiseberry Games and Noiseberry Records and Noiseberry Wrestling.
Oh, right. Good call. Okay. I run a gaming channel on YouTube. You can find that at Noiseberry Games on YouTube, or if you just go to noiseberrygames.com. I also did a couple of spin-off channels, a music channel and a wrestling channel. I don't put very much on either of those, but I just wanted to keep them separate from the main gaming channel because YouTube hates when you diversify your content. So you can find the music channel at Noiseberry Records on YouTube and the wrestling one at Noiseberry Wrestling. I'll be doing, at the very least, top 5 like albums of the year and top 5 wrestling matches of the year on those two channels, but maybe not much else. But yeah, check those out. But the gaming one's the big one.
That's the big one, yeah. And yeah, always a pleasure to watch your end of the year videos.
Thank you.
I'd never know any of the albums you like. So I was like, hey, here's 5 bands I've never heard of. I'm like, very cool.
Wow,
that makes sense.
Yes, that was my reaction as well.
Yeah,
it was a joy to watch.
Thank you. And I mean, segue for this one. This album was my album of the year last year.
Okay.
So
tell us more. The critics were mixed on this, but John Bell, his own critic, says this is a great album. The album, in fact.
I didn't actually realize that critics were mixed on this one. I had
That's
no idea.
apparently just fucking Wikipedia, so I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just what happens when you have more than one album.
Yeah,
that's
You're
also
like, hey,
true.
this one's a bit different. I'm mixed about this.
It's not exactly the same as the debut. Mixed.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, this is not the same thing done again.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird album. Like you said, it's Sleep Token's third album. I tried to get into them on both of their previous albums. Gave each album a couple of listens, and I was like, I hate this. I can't stand this guy's singing. I don't like this weird mashup of all these different genres. Not a fan. And then, like you said, in January, they started a very unique and aggressive marketing strategy of putting out half the album as singles very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And Chokehold was the first one.
Mhm.
And I know it and like the second one was The Summoning. Both of those got posted on the metalcore subreddit, which is where I get pretty much all of my new music. And when these two songs were posted, there was a real kind of collision in the community because they're not really metalcore. They have like metalcore elements, especially The Summoning has some harsh vocals. But, half the community absolutely loved them, even if they weren't quite metalcore. Lots of people hated that they were being posted, and eventually Sleep Token got banned from being posted on there, which makes sense. But
Wow.
I saw like how big these songs were and how much people were excited about these songs. So I don't think I bothered listening to the singles because like the main album was only a couple of weeks away or a couple of months away.
Yeah.
I tried it on the first listen. I was like, yeah, this is still garbage. I hate this crap. What is happening at the end of The Summoning? This is weird stuff. And then it like looped back around and we got like halfway through like Chokehold again. I was like, hang on a minute. And then it just clicked and I fell in love with that album. And yeah, it was my favorite album of last year.
Yeah, it's very interesting because like you said, this isn't really metalcore. It's arguably not even metal. And that seems to be how these guys are marketed, though, is as metal. Their one like big interview is with Metal Hammer, I believe, on Louder. All the fucking resources I get are it's Kerrang talking about them. It's Metal Hammer. It's all these like metal focused publications. But like I also went through the albums this week and I like listened to some of them. And especially the earlier ones, it's like, this is just pop music. Like,
yeah, it's like
with a little bit of like dark emo tones behind it.
Yeah, totally. It's, kind of like you said, like emo, like Imagine Dragons or like Bastille or something. Yeah, it's weird. I don't fully know why the metal community picked up on them. It's probably partially the aesthetic.
It's gotta be.
It's got to be, and maybe like the precedent set with the band Ghost. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Ghost.
I am, only from this interview in which they're like, "Are you worried that people will liken your band to Ghost?" And he's like, "Nah."
Ghost was also like probably a bit more rock focused, but definitely they had like a ton of Europop sensibilities, I guess. Super poppy rock. But their aesthetic was spooky church, I guess. And yeah, they kind of blew up in the metal
Spooky
community,
church.
even though they're not really metal. And I think the same thing happened with Sleep Token.
That's interesting that you can kind of slip in with just an aesthetic.
I do see the
honestly.
spooky church thing going on. And it does make, because you get some of the like black metal stuff and you always hear about, and it's like, I mean, just the like dark aesthetic that's like, has that like Christian influence, but it's kind of again, not necessarily supporting that, but like it draws from that. I at the same time, Sleep Token is pretty heavy. Like the sounds is definitely like distorted guitars and synthesizers as well, but like it's heavy.
Yeah, but it's weird because it is heavy, but it's also very like digestibly heavy. It's not.
Yeah.
You're not typically getting these harsh vocals. You're not typically getting anything that's really like challenging. It all feels to me. And I'm so glad John said Imagine Dragons, because even listening to this week's song, Chokehold, I was like, this kind of fucking sounds like Imagine Dragons.
Absolutely.
So it is, yeah, like it is heavy, but it's also like heavy by way of pop, which is strange.
Yeah, I agree. Like, you know, I think there's 3 instances of harsh vocals on the entire album. I can't even think if there were any on the previous 2 albums. And like you said, like, the bridge that we'll get to in Chokehold is pretty heavy instrumentally, but like you said, it's digestible. It's not fast paced. There's no breakdown. There's no blast beats or anything. It's I don't know. They are definitely a bit metal, but they're also super alt rock and pop and everything else.
Yeah, 100%. It's even weird. I was watching because there's like 2 big interviews everybody talks about with these guys. The one from Metal Hammer with the frontman Vessel, and then the YouTube channel Drumeo has an interview with 2, the drummer, who's like the only other like real member of the band, the only accredited member of the band.
Right.
And he's just talking about his like drum influences, and then he'll play like some drumming. It's like an hour-long video. I just skipped through to some of the actual interview parts, but he's talking with his fucking voice. It sounds like he's talking through like a pipe. He's like, my influences include, and he talks about like dance music being a huge influence on the drums. And
which is something that Dave Grohl has talked about too. Sorry, I interrupted you. But
no, that's fine. Yeah, Dave Grohl, another big heavy metal artist.
I know, but like associated with heavier music, right? But then has said like, oh, but it's disco drumming, like it's dance stuff.
Yeah, and then you actually see he plays the opening to Chokehold afterwards, and it is on a drum machine. So it's like one of those little like drum pad kind of like where it's got all the little boxes on it.
Yes.
And that's what he's playing to do that kind of trap drum intro on this.
And that totally makes sense. And I'm glad you also said trap drums, because I wrote the same thing down in my notes for how the little bits of drums sound.
Yeah, I sometimes know the terms. I usually just steal them from Alex, but I think I got trap drums down. Yeah, so I'm still a little confused by this band. I don't really know where to fall on them, but like kind of like I said in the intro, if nothing else, they're pretty compelling to hear and to hear about.
Definitely. I mean, like, yeah, there's no band mashes up like this many genres as well, I don't think, and have done extremely well with it. I mean, I think it also takes some real guts to go so all in on we're going to be masked, we're going to be completely anonymous right from the start. I mean, like you said, they didn't really have a massive audience before last year, and to go all in on that a weird gimmick like that is, I don't know, it takes some guts, like I said.
Yeah, and they're like full on that gimmick. It's not like we talked about Slipknot last week and like Corey Taylor's on fucking British panel shows now.
Yeah, no mask. Or even like Sia,
Yeah.
who was like established before and people knew her, and she was like, I'm starting to get popular, I better hide my face. Like,
Yeah, she's like, I'm going to start getting weird. These guys are full weird. They do one interview and they're full on their bit. The dude's like, yeah, let me tell you about sleep. I encountered him in a dream.
yeah, their whole thing.
Their whole thing, he says, the UK is old. Centuries of lore lay buried here. This land has power if only you knew how to use it, which he's saying to just some music journalist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I used to read Metal Hammer every month, so I probably read that interview when it first came out, and I probably thought, "What a bunch of wankers!"
Well, yeah, 100%.
It's easy to do when people are like this dedicated to like the bit, and you're like, okay, guys, come on,
Yeah,
let's get real for a minute here.
I mean,
But it's fun.
The commitment to do no press, like to be anonymous is like one thing, but to do like no interviews apart from these two over the course of 8 years, when, you know, getting into the music industry is probably as hard as it's ever been right now. There's no money in it. You know, anybody can make music from their bedroom. To forgo publicity from interviews is again really, really ballsy.
Yeah, and they doubled down on that by also not talking during live shows.
Yeah.
There's no like stage banner or anything. These dudes just fucking go play the music. Only other time I've ever seen that is Portugal the Man, and they put up a big apology about it first too. So these guys unapologetically do not talk, which is like, yeah, like you said, just bold, brazen.
Yeah, very, very ballsy to have that many gimmicks going, and it obviously worked out for them.
Yeah,
last year.
surprisingly.
Yeah.
Alex,
Yo.
what are your thoughts on Sleep Token overall? You chimed in a bit, but
I don't have too much to add other than what's been said already. I mean, I do think the sound is like seems pretty compelling at this point. You know, I'm definitely curious. I didn't check out their other material, but based on Chokehold, yeah, it's like pretty accessible, but then there's like a heaviness to it. Which is kind of like my big takeaway was that, like John said before, it's not like really up tempo or anything. Because I find that some of the things that I like, but other people don't, are things that are not necessarily danceable, but are up tempo. And it's not like the vocals are sing-alongable too. Like they're not really growling or anything. So yeah, it definitely has that aspect to it, while also keeping this like really heavy like theming. And I mean all that stuff about literally like being the vessel of some deity, and that they're just expressing the will of that thing is interesting. And it's kind of like it's almost steeped in like a thing that we hear a lot of, like the idea that creativity like comes from some other place. You know, we talk, you know, there's obviously artists we've talked about who literally say like God co-wrote this song.
That's right.
That aren't even specifically Christian artists. They're just like, yeah, well, you know, I wouldn't have been able to write this on my own or something.
Yeah, that was Foreigner with I Want to Know What Love Is was one of the big examples of that.
It's a big example. Another one that we didn't talk about is Killing Moon.
Killing Moon, Echo and the Bunnymen.
Echo and the Bunnymen. But yeah, that happens sometimes. So it's just interesting. I don't know if that's where they're coming from, but that's what I was thinking of. Was like, oh, well, that's the place where like creativity comes from, and like it's kind of about inspiration.
And they certainly tie it into their lyrics, which I'm going to use as a jumping point into this song, which I think does more than anything directly deal with their story of this sleep deity and their connection to it.
It seems to. It's definitely informed. Yeah, it's definitely present.
There's maybe like 2 reads on this, and one of these is them talking to their god Sleep, I think.
Yeah, I do find the like more general read to be more interesting, because I mean, you know, if you just read it as their explicit lore, there's not much room for interpretation really. You can just read it as like, oh yeah, this is their god, this is him, this is their god, this is him.
It's a little like navel gaze. You're like, well, this doesn't mean anything to me, a non-cultist. Like,
exactly.
And I'm not like huge into the lore or anything. I literally only learned that their god was called Sleep this week when I was putting together my notes for this. So I definitely find the more general or like universal reading of the lyrics to be more interesting.
Yeah, I think so too. There's just a point. There's specifically like one line in the second verse where it like falls apart. Where like, well, this line is just like word salad if it's not referring to their god.
Yes, it's hard to make any kind of connections with a couple of the lines.
Yeah, but I do think that the more general reading has some merit to it. And with that, we're going to get into these lyrics. They start with, "When we were made, it was no accident. We were tangled up like branches in a flood. I come as a blade, a sacred guardian, so you keep me sharp and test my worth in blood."
In blood. I have a question
Dracula.
for you guys real quick.
Yeah, no,
Did
go
either
ahead.
of you read the article, Is Sleep Token a Christian Band? The Truth Revealed on ChristianEducatorsAcademy.com.
No, I did not find that.
No, I didn't.
I don't know
Please
why I
tell me.
stumbled across it, but when I was searching around about the band, there was a thing that was like, are they a Christian band? I don't know who's asking this question, or if it's a common question, or if it's just this article. I don't know. But I thought it was interesting. And I do think there are some lines that perhaps suggest that a bit, but also like not really, especially considering their whole shtick is that there's a god other than that one who they are.
Yeah, they might just be
part
like conflating sort of worship themed lyrics with like that must be Christianity.
That kind of is my takeaway, because there are lines that taken out of context, like I mean, the first line of the song is "When we were made, it was no accident," right? Like, that could be taken out of context and like, oh, that is a Christian thing to say. Like, they're God doesn't make accidents or whatever, or yeah. But then, yeah, it just doesn't make sense if you look at the whole thing put together. Especially considering that I'm sure there's a lot of groups who you could suggest their lyrics presuppose the existence of a god. Like,
right.
Just because that's how we behave as a society. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there because I found the article and I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
I do think there's like possibly more to that than like, I don't know if we should write that off because like it's in the title of the album, Take Me Back to Eden.
That's true.
Which is
Eden.
Christian.
Yeah, Eden is from the book of Genesis. There's a couple of times in these lyrics that I'll like make Christian connections actually. So I don't know. I think I don't think they're like a Christian band. Like they've obviously got their own deity and religion, I guess.
Yeah.
But I definitely think they make allusions to Christianity throughout.
It does.
Yeah, which is
happen.
not like outside of the realm of like heavy metal in general.
No, definitely not.
And also lads from the UK, like it's a Christian nation by and large. So like having those in there is not necessarily surprising.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question to think about, but I also think it would be so easy for it to all just be coincidental. Like I said, it's like it's just the sort of thing you write. Like you try to write these like poetic, epic lyrics, and it ends up sounding like you're Christian because like a lot of our epic language is like related to how we would talk about very powerful things and things like that, and
but I do find that like a lot of their, at least like in this interview, he talks about the land having power. Like he's doing more like paganism.
Right, it's more like pagan, yeah.
But maybe you're doing both. You can do both. Maybe that's what sleep is. I don't know. Sleep also seems, from reading this song, like it is just literally sleeping.
Potentially. I did see something about like one of the lines later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've distracted things.
No, I like it.
No, it's all, we're all in line here. But yeah, so when we were made was no accident. We is a tricky one here. Because I think the base, like the non-sleep token associated like lore interpretation is that this is a relationship, right?
Yes.
So it's like when we were made, we being maybe us as an item rather than us individually made, but even that works too. It was no accident. We were meant to come together. We were tangled up like
it's like we were made for each other.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I mean, we talked about Kiss recently.
Yeah.
I was made for loving you. You were made for loving me. It's like it's not that different from that line.
You're right. Just like not fully tied to the lyrics, but like just before the lyrics start, I didn't notice until this week, but you can hear the sound of like birds like twittering and chirping, and that is something that's echoed at the start of the song, Take Me Back to Eden. So that makes me think of the Garden of Eden, which then leads into When We Were Made, which I think is probably not an accident, no pun intended.
Yeah, and you're getting a bit of Adam and Eve in there.
Exactly. I think it's, I don't think it's explicitly about Adam and Eve. I think it's just kind of a cheeky nod to this concept of creationism and Genesis.
Yeah, I guess that's the other thing is like you can allude to the Bible without being Christian.
Yeah, exactly. Without being
it's like you can allude to anything
the
you
Bible,
want to. Especially if it's like it's not like it's an obscure part of the Bible. It's like it's this one part that's probably well known by most people. That's gonna be it.
Yeah. So yeah, there's definitely something going on here in terms of creation. These sort of like fated coupled pairings, like Adam and Eve.
Yes.
Drawing on that, we were tangled up like branches in a flood. Genius notes that like branches, when they come together like that, are stronger and can resist the elements.
I was also thinking it's a flood is quite violent. Getting
kind of brought together by chaos.
And biblical.
Yeah,
like stronger together. That they've seen some shit, they've gone through shit together, but it's kind of made them stronger and closer, something like that.
Yeah, I would say that's 100%, because then the next thing they establish is this sort of like blade guardian relationship where it's like we work together. He says, I come as a blade, so he's a weapon to be used by this person.
Yeah, and he seems to be, or they seem to be put in situations where they do have to defend the other person because they're kept sharp and their worth is tested through blood, through violence, I guess.
Or at least like a real hardship, I think.
Yes.
Through like whatever, like a real conflict. It's not practice. Even keeping me sharp, like when you think what you have to do to a blade to keep it sharp, that's not a gentle treatment of a weapon. It is necessary for it, but it's not. You're not hugging the fucking sword.
That's true.
Brushing it up against the stone. And so I thought that was kind of interesting, where he's like, even not when I'm at work, I'm still being kind of put to work, being sharpened.
Yeah.
And so then that relationship is then really like clarified in the chorus, which is, you've got me in a chokehold, you've got me in a chokehold, you've got me in a...
No breath left. He's in a chokehold. Passed out.
Yeah.
Couldn't finish the line.
Of course, because of being in a chokehold.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's true.
I don't know if that's actually
So it's a chokehold, intimate by nature of being held.
Oh, sorry.
Also,
I checked the Genie's annotation. The chokehold's actually figurative. Sorry, guys.
Oh.
I messed up.
No. Shit. No. Okay. Never mind. Scrap it.
Darn.
Anyway.
But yeah, you're right. Chokehold does imply very, very close quarters. It implies like a grip of some kind on the other person, potentially.
It's really hard to escape, I assume.
Yeah, exactly.
I've never tried, but probably wouldn't be able to do very well.
It's like it's like a submission grab, right? It's to make the opponent submit.
Yeah, like in MMA, a lot of submissions come from rear naked choke, which is pretty much just a chokehold. It gets the job done professionally. So
yeah, I'm learning now from Wikipedia that it's shimewaza in judo.
Okay,
which translates to constriction technique.
Hey, that makes sense.
Fascinating.
There's also like the non-physical version of chokehold that I found recently. It's, if a company has a monopoly or something, you say they've got a chokehold on the market.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's the more symbolic or like metaphorical sense of the word, I guess.
Of like being in control, basically.
Yeah. I think it's just another way of saying these two people are tangled together still.
Yeah, it's a very like intense way of saying, I guess that's true, like the branches, but also very intense way of just saying like I would do anything for you, kind of.
Yeah, he's giving the control to the other person here. Yeah. You've got me in a chokehold, not we're holding hands. It's like I'm being held by you.
True, yeah.
And that could obviously be him talking to another person, or in the sleep token lore, it seems like this would be him talking to sleep.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. He's literally the vessel for the god. There's going to be, he's going to be very, very close to that god, presumably.
Yeah. We expand upon all this in verse 2, which begins, "Beneath the stormy seas, above the mountain peaks, it's all the same to me, it makes no difference. I've seen my days unfold, done the impossible. I'll turn my walls to gold to bring you home again. So show me that which I cannot see, even if it hurts me, even if I can't sleep. Oh, and though we act out of our holy duty to be constantly awake."
Oh! I definitely see why this one feels more like it's addressing the sleep directly. This concept of sleep as a god. But anyway, we'll dig in.
We'll get to that. Here he's basically saying, I'll do whatever it takes. This is it reminds me of that Flight of the Conchords episode where Brett McKenzie is writing that song where he's like, "I'll climb the highest mountain."
Jermaine's like, "But would you actually do that?"
Yeah, he's like, "Well, no.
I'll take it out.
I would take it out then." Yeah, and that's what this reminds me of. He's like, "I'll go right beneath the stormy sea. I'll be above the mountain peaks. It's all the same to me. I'll go to any ends."
Yeah.
As high as you can get, as low as you can get.
I would do anything for love, as Meatloaf said.
And would also do this.
And this.
And I will do that.
And I will do that. Beneath the Stormy Seas is potentially also a little throwback to their previous album, which I cannot remember the name of right now. But it's all about being underwater.
Okay, yeah, I should have known this. I listened to it yesterday. It's called "This Place Will Become Your Tomb."
Right.
That's the name of the album.
Okay.
Fun.
And I think
there's a song called "High Water" on that album.
And a song called "Telomeres."
I think the opening track is Atlantic.
There you go.
And the artwork is underwater, so it might just be a little nod to that they have featured watery music in their past.
Yeah, they're remember all those water songs from the last album.
Yeah,
that makes sense, because this is also the opening track of this album, the first single, the opening track. So it is it's welcoming everybody into the world again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it also, I think, it further paints this picture of this epic thing, right? Because we're not talking about says I'll do anything, but to say that talks about going out into the world, and finding the biggest thing and the lowest, the toughest places to get to, and it's I will go to those places. For the metaphor.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
And he's it's all the same to me. He's it's not a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all the same to me.
It
makes no difference. Yeah.
It makes no difference. He's done the impossible also. We know he's despite being a submissive in this relationship, he's done incredible things. He's done the impossible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He also says, "I'll turn my walls to gold," which always throws me off.
If that was another reference to some mythological thing, but I only know of King Midas. But I don't think he did walls, so I don't know.
I think he mostly does tires, right?
Yeah, I think that's him.
I was wondering if this was a reference to the walls of Jericho, but I couldn't find anything in there about gold. Those were walls that were explicitly torn down. So presumably not this. Unless he's talking about rebuilding walls as stronger, possibly.
I guess, yeah, and it's his walls. So is it the walls of his home? Is it some sort of internal walls? It's very, what does he mean here?
Yeah.
It's a weird line.
What does it mean to bring you home again? The Genius annotation suggests that the test in the first verse was failed. You failed the test, and then the relationship ended. So now he's kind of venturing out on this journey to get them back.
Right. And that's why he's doing all these impossible things as a demonstration of his commitment, I guess.
Yeah, I wonder because there's no real indication that he's failed the test. I would say the test is ongoing and constant. If we keep this image of him as a sword and this other person as some sort of wanderer who wanders beneath stormy seas and above the mountain peaks, let's assume they're on this journey together. He's saying to bring you home again, it's basically to bring them both home again. He'll do the impossible.
Right.
He'll be an erstwhile companion this whole time.
That does
Yeah.
make sense. Because they're
And he'll
both on the
presumably-
journey together.
And presumably also bring them within his new gold walls. So things will be different. Things will be stronger this time.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is the tricky verse to read.
Yeah, it's a little strange. I don't think it, and just like even the line "to bring you home again" is probably a line you can find in like 1,000 breakup songs.
Yes.
So it does get, I think, muddied used here because it doesn't. The rest of this doesn't feel like a breakup track in any way.
No, I agree. And
Yeah.
like you said, like I don't fully see what the genius annotation sees in failing the test in the first part.
Yeah.
And they're not really breaking things down line by line, so
No.
that's what you all come here for. That's our
Yeah, line by line, and then the rest of this real devotion stuff. Even if it hurts me, even if I can't sleep. And some people have suggested there's perhaps a comma between can't and
Yes.
sleep,
I like that.
which I think is interesting. I like that.
I think that's more clear on the outro, where he's like, even if I can't sleep,
That's
show
right.
me the way. I think that's
That's right.
that's a really cool reading that I'd never thought of
It
before
just-
this week.
slide sleep onto the other line.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's something you don't really notice if you're just listening to it, but if you start diving a little bit deeper in, you're like, oh yeah, it could kind of go either way. And I think that's very neat.
Yeah. Now here's the one line that I think only makes sense if he's talking to his god sleep is and though we act out of our holy duty to be constantly awake,
Yeah.
because like the god's called sleep, right? But in order to do things for sleep, he has to be awake. That's what he's saying, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, calling it the holy duty and referencing sleep, I mean, yeah, you can't really take that one as anything apart from sleep token lore.
I
Yeah.
suppose, but I guess I will try. And all I
Alright.
will say is like everything they're saying is like the most epic version, kind of like extreme, right? So when you talk
Right.
about holy duty, that could just be like, I need to live my life, which takes me away from sleep. Sleep, of course, being still, I think, is this god, but like you're taken away from the presence just because you are alive. Like it is necessary to remove yourself from this presence to continue experiencing it because you need to live a normal life as well.
Right, but he's but it's his holy duty to be constantly awake. So it's actually not removing him from the other presence, right? It's in service of that other presence.
Right, it's in service, but you're away from the presence itself, right? Like you serve the presence by being away from it. Does that make sense?
But you're not, I would argue you're not living your normal life so much as you were living a life in service to this other thing.
I guess all I mean is like you still need to like survive, so you need to like eat and stuff, but you can't,
Right.
and you can't serve
I
them
think-
unless you do
I
that.
think the holy duty goes beyond that, like just, maintaining a corpse. Because the band in their lore talks about this being the projection and spreading of the mission and the word of sleep.
Of sleep.
So I think it's
so
not
they
just
actually
like...
talk about like a specific holy duty. I guess so.
yeah. So like them being the band is the holy duty, essentially.
But they have to be awake to do that.
Yeah, I think that's really what they're coming on here. Not like like sleeping is the worship of sleep, and then the time out of that is just like is a break session. I don't think it's quite that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I guess the holy duty is
yeah.
like their concerts, their worship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He says, let me see if there's a quote from that article. He says a bunch of shit where he's all like, what matters is the music and the message. We are here to serve sleep and project his message is the big one, he says,
Okay.
which would be the holy duty, right?
Yeah.
And they project it through these songs that are half about sleep, half about relationships.
Yeah. Or water, maybe in the last
or
album.
water. Yeah. So yeah, like I don't know. I don't think you quite landed that plane for me, Alex. I do feel like it's still like very specifically about their little lore situation.
Okay.
But thank you for trying. I appreciate your efforts. You've got me in a chokehold. 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 That's the chorus. Same thing. And of course, the lines tie. The end line of the verse always ties into the chorus a little bit. So he's saying, even though I'm awake all the time, you've still got me in a chokehold.
Yes.
So the connection's still there. And then we outro, even if it hurts me, even if I can't sleep, show me the way. which is, of course, a reference to the Styx song of the same name.
Come sail away.
Nice.
That's it. Yep, that's the one. So there you go. That's the lyrics. It's a song either directly about the god Sleep or directly about a relationship with a very clear power dynamic in it.
Yeah, I think it's probably both. I would imagine they didn't want to make songs that can literally only be about their own invented lore. I think music is more interesting for people when they can make their own connections to it. So I imagine there's a bit of both in there.
Yeah, I believe so. There was we talked about the song 8 Miles High like a year or two ago now. And it's about, there's a quote from one of the artists where he's like, yes, it's both about being stoned and riding in a plane. Like, it can be both. Like, that's the power of music.
Yes.
True, it is possible.
And it can literally be whatever you read into it.
Yeah, and I think they're purposely trying to make things ambiguous because it's kind of part of the
No, not these guys. The guys wearing masks are trying to be ambiguous. Yeah, I agree though, Alex. You're right. There is, because that adds to the mystery, right?
Yeah,
it's like, well, I can't really land on something, and it's more mysterious that way.
Yeah.
And
but what?
Sorry, I just wanted to say, like, their whole like mystery thing is made so much funnier when I believe the very first song they put out was a cover of Outkast's "Hey Ya."
Yeah,
I do think you're right. Actually, I seem to remember reading that.
So
that's very funny.
It's just really funny, like compared to how they are now. It's
I do wonder how that connects into the lore.
Yeah, me too.
I also wonder if they ever play that at shows now.
No, I'm sure they don't.
Oh, that would be fun though.
Be fun.
But what does this song sound like, you guys? What's going on here?
Great question. Let me find my notes. I found them.
Okay, Alex, lead the session.
All right. We start with like some like kind of like feedback, like reversed sounds. They're like fade in.
Yeah, and these bird noises that John mentioned as well. I did hear that because I was listening to this outdoors, and I was like, there's no way there's this many fucking birds around me right now. So I had to like pause it. I was like, no, there's it. And I was like, okay, that is just the music.
Definitely in the song. Yeah, it's like this weird like droning sound with like distorted synth, I guess.
Pretty heavy, harsh synth. And then you sort of like get the it does the like sample and hold like sound to it, but there's also clearly like multiple oscillators sliding around, like they're not quite in sync, so they start to interfere with each other and stuff. So it's that kind of sound to it.
Yeah.
I saw somebody
heavily electronic.
I saw somebody like did a read that like maybe that like, you know, because it starts with like nothing and it builds up into this droning. Saw somebody say like that could be like the sound of creation or something, because you know it goes from nothing to strange sounds, and then bam, you've got birds, and right into the line when we were made. It's a potential read on it.
That does make a bit of sense. Even looking at the music video, which is kind of more just a visualizer, but it does open with blackness and then like a sort of a light rising.
Yeah.
And then eventually a little Dark Souls guy just kind of emerging, but
a little furtive pygmy.
Yeah. But yeah, there is that sort of, and even like birds are often used as like it's morning kind of thing. Like it's a real signifier of a start.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
So I could definitely see that. So yeah, we've got this droning. We've kind of finished up with our bird noises. We get our dude coming in. Again, these kind of pop, like emo vocals, really playing a little lower though. When we were made.
Yeah,
it's a little more Muppety, but
little Kermity there.
When we were made.
Almost sounds like pitched down a bit. I don't know if it is, but he's definitely like singing low.
Yeah,
and like kind of forcing it.
Yeah, I've never heard a voice like his, and like I said, like it totally put me off the first couple of times I tried to get into this band, and then eventually it just clicked for me. But yeah, it's I feel like you either like these vocals or you do not.
Yeah, I'm still on the fence.
Yeah, that is fair. I was on the fence for probably 2 or 3 years.
But also like they're very breathy. and you get a little bit of that like pitch correction sound in it.
A bit, and
So it's like kind of
just,
digitized.
just kind of the way like every single word is pronounced and enunciated is very different.
Yeah, and I wonder if he's fighting with his accent there. I also wonder how much of this is meant to just obscure his like vocal identity, just so he's never like on the streets and somebody's like, "Wait a second, you're fucking Vessel," and he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, fucking jigs up." Like,
Well, there definitely seems to be some fighting with an axe in the music video, but we'll talk about that later.
Oh. Yeah, I would imagine it's both. Like, I feel like he's got some kind of accent that I would never be able to place, and I think he is probably obscuring it a bit.
Except for on like some words, but that's not that big a deal. When he says
I mean,
can't,
you can't fight that.
you can't fight that.
You can't. It's Kant is one that really British singers have a lot of trouble with Americanizing vocally.
It always seems to slip out there. Honestly, John, that's where I notice your accent the most as well.
I can't.
Yeah. Except you said it. You didn't say it that way this time.
It's it's probably when it's like in the middle of a sentence or something.
Yeah.
It comes out differently. Yeah, I think
Anyway,
you were talking
so
about
that's
the Youngblood cover of the Kiss song a couple of weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
and you're like
exactly the same.
You're like, yeah. As soon as he says like can't, you're like, yeah, that's the accent.
That's it.
Yeah,
There
and it
is.
stands out
Found it.
so much in that one.
Yeah.
But that'll come up later. And this is just the intro.
This is just the intro. We got the vocals, we got the instruments. What happens next, Alex? What's the next interesting thing?
I mean, they keep going. I guess we're talking about the verse, so it's not just the intro. I guess the chorus is next, right?
Apart from
Let's go
his
into a
crazy like vocal ascension on the word blade,
Blade, yeah.
That's
People
true.
love that.
people love that. It's cool. It's impressive.
It's, yeah.
I don't know how many octaves or anything it is, but it sounds good.
Oh, yeah, he goes right up there.
Yeah, goes all the way up. But then you're right, the chorus comes in. That's when we get like the trap drums.
Yes.
Get some backing vocals.
Yeah, these like ahs, or what are they? They're, I had notes on them. I always write down what the backing vocals are saying. Yeah, choir ahs going like up and down.
Yeah, it almost like serves as a cacophony because it just feels like there's more like droney stuff in the background.
Yeah, like a cacophony played in slow motion.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it's very, very drawn out. And that's something I didn't really notice with like the vocals as much on this version as when I like started listening to the covers, and like everybody's like really making sure they're like super drawing out every single word.
Yeah. I guess it is pretty slow, and like even especially you hear because you get those like really like poppy piano chords right in the chorus, and they're very slow. Like they're very spaced out. So
Oh yeah, ding, ding, ding,
Yeah.
ding. Yeah.
but of
It's
course
very spooky, very slow.
and like pretty sparse still at this point. Not for very long, but at this point it still is until the last line of the chorus, and that's where it like really breaks out.
The composition of this chorus is so crazy because they basically give you a taster of what the final chorus is going to be like without ever really giving that to you.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting. Yeah, they do tend to fill out the space on this one, I think, really well, which is what disguises how slow and deliberate the vocals are. Because I do also notice that on the covers, it's just like there's a bit more emptiness, so that the vocals, and some of them are really trying to make the vocals stand out because that's all that they're covering.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
all they can do.
Sticks out. That's all they can do, man. But yeah, so Alex, like you were saying, we build to this final, like, big moment in the chorus where we get the kind of cool guitar riff, the whole like everything that goes
kind of
into this one moment.
Two halves of that guitar riff as well. It starts like low. I think it's one guitar, but I'm not 100% sure. Where like you play that like really like low, and then it kind of repeats the high part as well.
That's right. Yeah.
So there's one guitar riff.
Yeah, and so it's almost a call and response, but it's maybe just one guitar.
Yeah. And of course, really heavy guitar as well.
Yes.
Really heavy, but very still spaced out, very slow, and like we said earlier, digestible. It's not insane, but yeah, it is pretty heavy. It's, you know, it's a little bit doomy, I guess, because it is so slow and heavy.
doomy.
Yeah, but it's all like there's still something about like the tone on it that doesn't feel like it's that outlandishly like niche or anything. You could hear this in like a 90s grunge song. You could hear it in fucking 80s metal. Like it's all still in this vein of pop music.
Yeah, especially with the brow, brow, which I assume is just them like literally bending the string down.
Right.
Yeah.
I assume. I know like one of the covers later has a different way than I expected of doing that part.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know, if it is just bending, then yeah, it sounds super grungy, like you said.
Yeah.
Or it's
Yeah,
a
it's
trick
not
that wouldn't be
like-
out of place.
Like ugly.
No.
They keep
Yeah.
It's everything sounds still like good without like it's still like very polished and clean and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you've got big kind of classic metal drums doing this now. We're getting some big heavy hits. But even that, we're not doing like speed metal. It's not like a bunch of double kicks or anything. It's just good hard hitting drums.
Yeah, I guess on the topic of the drums, like the drums before got really like triplet. It was like a triplet pattern. This is, I believe,
yeah.
the drum machine we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, that little kind of trap section.
And then now they still kind of like a swung feeling to it, but it's not the triplet. It's like kind of. So it's a little.
Yeah,
a little different now.
He's typically
it's
doing like a dun,
similar
dun,
feel, but it's
dun,
more it's
dun.
spaced out now.
Mm.
Yeah, and we hang out in this instrumental section for a bit.
Yeah, we get
For a
this
little
more
while.
sick
Vocals.
bridge.
Yeah.
And then after the bridge, it just goes back down to just the droning for a little bit.
Yeah, we take it right back down.
Yeah, strip it back down to pretty much how it was at the start.
At least until the
But
verse
then-
comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah, where we add like a guitar arpeggio.
Yeah, no piano on this one. It does the guitar arpeggio instead, and then the drums. I guess they just come back.
Yeah, they're just back. Still doing kind of the same
triplets.
pattern, maybe
Yeah.
dialed back a little
Yeah,
bit, though.
not quite as bombastic, I guess, in the verse.
Yeah.
And like it's like the guitar's playing these like echoey arpeggios. Like that's a pretty standard thing to do. And it's not even like that heavy a guitar. Like it's much cleaner than the one we were
Yeah,
just
they
listening to.
really do emphasize like spookiness over like hardness in this song. for the most
Yeah,
part.
it does seem to be.
Yeah,
that.
I agree.
So the first time I hear the vocals get doubled are on "I've Seen My Days Unfold."
Yeah, I said the second half of second verse. It's when like the
Yeah,
harmonies come back in. And I think the piano also comes back at that point.
256.
Let me see that. Do I hear it? I can't really hear it.
I don't hear a piano in there.
I said it was really quiet, but I might have been inventing it
really
potentially. Man, it's like towards the end of the verse.
Yeah. Show me
Yeah.
that which I cannot see. You get some
which
piano.
is this section still part of verse 2? Because like the
It feels like
instrumentation
a-
changes up so much. Feels like a bridge.
Feels like a bridge. Or like
be
a
another
pre-chorus
bridge,
kind of
yeah.
thing.
like a pre-chorus.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've just been going off like the genius spacing, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's
that's what I
usually
did
what we
when we
do.
went through the lyrics. But even in terms of like what it talks about, there's a shift.
Yeah, you're
'Cause
right.
Even though it was so show me this, like you said, the piano comes in. It definitely feels like a separate section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, verse 2, according to Genius, is like quite a bit longer than verse 1. So it could easily just, like, it feels like another section.
Yeah.
And there's like very clearly two halves of this verse. So yeah, I think you're right that the second half could be bridge, pre-chorus, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though it's like
I think so.
similar, but we are like kind of ramping up to the chorus now.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is what that piano is really helping with. We're starting to get those heavy chord presses.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
And there's a lot of sound in there too. Like, I don't know if there's strings. It's probably synthesizer. But like, you
Yeah,
kinda get
there
that
is,
space
and I
fill
think that
out.
was
It's really quiet
present in
things.
verse 2 as well, just before this. But yeah,
Yeah,
you really get
yeah.
that, like this back end's filling out.
Kinda
Yeah, it's a
drone
busy
things.
song.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like surprisingly for how spacious it is.
Yeah,
For how
much
spaced
it
out
feels
things are.
anyway, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty rich despite not feeling like full or busy.
Yeah.
But of course, then there's another chorus. I think higher energy, but
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
similar otherwise.
A little Imagine Dragons on this one. This is kind of where I got the Imagine
That's where
Dragons
Imagine
energy.
Dragons comes in.
Yeah, I get that.
A little, you make me believe.
Yeah.
It does. They do have hype rock tendencies.
Is that what that's called? Hype rock?
I don't think so.
Ah.
I need a better name for it.
No, it's good enough. The names people come up with for genres.
Hype rock.
You're in there, man.
I feel like I've heard it called that. I don't think I came up with that term, but I don't remember.
I'm going to say you came up with
It
it.
seems like I probably didn't. But
And so, yeah, in this chorus, we've got that guitar riff back that was from the end of the first chorus. It's just here sticking around that. Drums are
yes,
going.
we're back to that.
Everything's nuts.
Yeah, we're in the outro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it like fades back down to the like randomized synthesizer. It also repeats the end of that last part, even if it hurts.
Yeah, so we get kind of like a second
So,
build-up.
yeah.
Because it's that same thing, even if it hurts me. But it's that one that you know that's a build-up to the end of a song, if that makes sense. It's like you're rising up to ramp right down immediately.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
then it just like fades back down.
I
Sorry,
said
Dan.
it all crescendos at the end, and then everything
That's a good word for
just
it.
drops off, and then it's just the droning again for the outro.
Yeah.
And there's a big gasp for breath right at the end.
Yeah, I noted that as well.
There
which
it
is- It's very good for
Breath.
Chokehold.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Thematic.
Yeah. So these guys these are pros. They know what they're fucking doing here, guys.
Yeah.
This is a
True.
song.
They do.
And that's what it sounds like. What does it look like, though? It looks like a little music video where the title of the song comes up in white text on a black screen. And then we mostly just see stuff. We mostly just see a 3D image of the little guy that's on their single cover for this.
Yeah,
It's
it's like
all
a
their
3D
singles
model
have.
with many limbs holding an axe, and it also has a mask on.
Yeah. You can get kind of a better image of him, Alex, if you go to like Sleep Token's artist page and check their singles. Because all of the singles are like drawings of basically creatures you'd find in Dark Souls or maybe Silent Hill.
Okay.
Yeah.
creepy guys.
Yeah, you just said the entirety of my notes for the music video. I said it's a 3D version of the single artwork.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
That's
It
all there
opens with first like this light and there's like a dark like horizon. It feels like there's ground and sky in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then yeah, the 3D model emerges in silhouette. He's lit from behind. And then we get more lighting. We're in some kind of like it looks like a set from Dune.
Yeah, everything
Like a
is
temple or
rectangles.
something. Yeah.
I guess it could be like a temple or something. He's like on an altar.
Yeah. And so you get different shots of him at the end. He gets like shit pouring out of his face, out of his
Yeah.
eye holes.
Yeah.
Cries, I would say blood, but it just looks black.
Yeah, it looks like
Black
ichor.
tears.
It's his dark soul.
That's his dark soul pouring out.
Gale
He's
has come
leaking-
for it.
He's leaking his dark soul.
And that's the music video. It's not the most interesting music video, but in terms of music videos we're talking about today, it's in the upper half.
There's also like some text on like the outsides of the screen, and I can't make any of it out whatsoever.
Oh,
Oh,
I didn't notice any of that.
No, like some of it's like in their own
Oh,
font.
that they have a
Okay.
font. It kind of just looks like, you know, when you see like film and it's got like stuff written on it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
that means.
Yeah.
But it's like-
I do actually think, I don't know if you've got it up, but there's like a vertical bit of text in the bottom left.
Yeah.
I do think that
Mhm.
actually says chokehold.
Oh, okay. Oh, now I'm seeing this. Yeah, it is like you said, Alex, like a watermarking kind of thing.
Yeah, watermark.
Yeah. Yeah, so the one in the bottom left is like their font. I just
Mhm.
recognize that from like the album cover. But the rest don't seem to be something else. Like you said, I think they're probably just watermark things. But yeah, I do think the bottom left says chokehold.
Dots.
Yeah. Neat.
Neat.
You know it's some good stuff when they got their own fucking script, right?
Yes.
We're not fucking around.
That's some high fantasy stuff.
Yeah. Come from the land of Tolkien. We're gonna get Tolkien about some covers first, but we gotta have a short break. We're back, ready to talk 1,000 different versions of Sleep Token. No, it's more like, what, 6? Yeah, 6 different versions of Sleep Token.
1,000.
All very close to each other in terms of release.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I was going to ask earlier, like, is this the most, like, modern song you've done?
Yeah, it would be. I don't think we've done anything else from 2023.
Okay.
I mean, in terms of, like, closeness to recording dates, it's really close to that. We did Bad Guy, I think, pretty close. I haven't compared.
Pretty close.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
We've done special episodes on new songs, but that wasn't like we didn't talk about covers.
Okay. Yeah. You mostly cover classic rock, I guess, where you've got literal decades of covers to choose from.
Yeah.
But this one you've got year and a half.
Year and a half. And it's, we find typically it takes a little more than that to get the best cover out. Like a lot of the ones in the first year are just like very close to the original, or just a little rushed, I think, for views and impressions.
Yes, I would agree.
We get some of that here. Some of it's a little different. What I really found with metal people, because I also tried to make a playlist for the summoning, is that fans of metal, and it is a little weird to say that when talking about Sleep Token, but metal people love Sleep Token.
Yes.
Don't like to veer off the course of what the original song sounds like. They really want to just be the guy who's singing the song.
Yes, yeah. I feel like we see that a fair bit with this playlist.
Yeah.
How would the summoning have worked? Because did people like cut out the last minute and a half or whatever?
They cut out, they would, some people would just cover a section of it.
Right.
Not even necessarily like cutting out a half, but I can look at that playlist because I do have it.
Okay.
So I've got one that's a vocal cover, one that is an acoustic cover, one that is, I think, just a drum cover, one that's guitar. And so a lot of people did the full amount. Actually, no, that's a lie. Some people did. The guitar and vocal cover did. One person just covered the ending, so it's a minute and 39 seconds.
Yeah, that makes sense.
One person just did the drums, and then, I think a lot of people have just a 3-minute cover, so they're doing just kind of like maybe even just the middle section.
Interesting.
So what is it about this song that would make it difficult to cover? I don't know this song at all.
One, it's like 7 minutes long,
okay,
which of course we've done before, and kind of multi-segmented. It's, not quite like that Doors song off the Soft Parade, but
the Soft Parade?
Vein. Is that the one?
I think so.
Is that the long one? Yeah.
Peppermint mini skirts, chocolate candy.
Yeah, that's the one.
It's basically like the last like minute and a half of the summoning is like a funk version of like the previous like verses.
Ah, I see. Interesting.
It's like completely different. It's fun, but yeah, I thought that would potentially make it kind of difficult to cover.
Yeah, and that's, you would think that would inspire people to do like a full funk cover or
anything.
Or anything, like to really be like, oh, we can do any genre on this.
Mm-hmm.
But no, for some reason, metalheads are like, it's got to be the fucking same. And I think I was talking about this the last week, but a lot of what the metal community loves is technique.
Right.
So covering a song, whether it's vocally or on guitar or on drums, is proving that you can do that same technique.
Yeah. I think that checks out. Yeah, they don't want to. They want to prove that they can do what this other band did, pretty much.
Yeah, whereas like fucking pop artists will just be like, well, fuck it, take away everything. I'm just gonna play 4 chords and sing my little song.
Yeah.
And that sucks for its own reasons.
Yes. Yeah, I think you're right. We probably have not seen the best covers of this song yet, by any means, because it is so close to the original release.
Yeah, but I was interested to see who's covered it this week, because it's not just YouTube artists. It's all, I could only find all of these versions on YouTube, but you do get like some names in this.
Yeah, definitely.
But one person who is not a name is Leah Moonchild, who covered this or released this video on January 11th, 2023.
You've got me in a chokehold. You've got me in a chokehold. You've got me in a
that's like a week,
quick.
if that.
Yeah, I think this one was released January 5th, so that is 6 days
Oh
after.
my god.
Impressive.
Very
Or is
impressive.
It? Find out. On this
We'll find
segment.
out. So she's from Berlin, Germany, according to Bandcamp. She's a singer, songwriter, producer, pianist. This is your sad piano cover.
Yeah, fairly. I mean, I think she does decently on this one, but it is pretty much sad piano cover. But it's also kind of like keeping with the sounds of the original song. It's not like she slows it down, like it's already slow.
Yeah.
I like what she does with the piano playing generally, like her little bits between the chords, where you get the, I think that sounds nice. It's generally pleasant too. I don't know that it stands out necessarily, but I also don't think it's just like a totally generic sad piano cover.
Yeah, there's definitely some technique going on here.
Yeah.
She does like vocal layering on lines too, and like you said, she has some flourishes on the keys there that make it more than just chords.
Yeah, it's like particularly good strumming, kind of, like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I like it.
I said she did like a riff, I guess, on the piano, because it would have been easy enough literally just to play chords like you're doing that droning synth from the original, but she made kind of like a little catchy hook, I guess, on the piano, which I think is extra impressive considering she had 6 days to write the piano parts.
Yeah.
It's easy enough to do a vocal cover mere days after the original, but she did actually write parts of this herself, so I think that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and that it still sounds like inspired by the original. Like it still sounds like it could be on the original track played by a different instrument. Like, I think that's pretty impressive as well.
Yeah. I thought her vocals sounded a little bit like Adele.
Oh yeah.
Is it because she sings a bit lower?
Yeah, pretty low, like very soulful. There was just like definitely like a couple of words where I had to like double check like who the artist was.
I guess on the topic of vocals, I think we brought this up, but she does a lot of the like high harmonies as well.
Yeah, and sometimes just
fun.
like a second track, like on the chorus, she'll do more of an echo with that higher one rather than just a straight backing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. There's there's way more harmonies throughout, and a lot of them are like much higher than the main vocal line that she's singing.
Yeah, which also brings in some of that spookiness that's like inherent in the original song.
True.
She's going for that kind of like sad ghost woman in a church vibe.
Yeah.
Ghost woman in church, yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought this one sounded pretty good.
The only thing is like it doesn't ramp up. Like the original like starts from nothing and ends with this huge crescendo.
Yeah.
Whereas this one just starts with sad piano and is sad piano the whole way through. So I think it loses a bit of the dynamicness.
Yeah.
That's
It
true.
loses that like range, that sort of like interest of motion. I agree with that 100%. And I think even you can occupy this spooky, echoey piano space and still add something that makes it bigger without losing that.
Something else, yeah. Like even like if you just did, whatever they are, like strings on like some Adobe program or something, like some pre-made orchestral bits in like the second half or something, that would make it feel like it evolves a bit more.
Mm-hmm. Or like just loop your riff and then play something else over top.
Yeah.
I'm sure she can, like, because that thing's consistent, so there's no reason for her to just be playing that riff the whole time. And she taunts us in the music video by having a guitar in frame.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The music video, I mean, mostly just a video of her recording, like sitting in front of a mic and a piano and singing, recording. With some big lights behind her.
Big RGB lights, I think they were.
Yeah, they're two just like rods vertical.
Yeah.
And they change colors throughout.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like your basic expense as a YouTube performing artist is you need to have some kind of fucking light show.
Some lights, yeah.
You need a black backdrop and some big flashy lights, and that's all you need.
Telecaster.
Yeah.
And a guitar hanging in the back.
Telecaster.
Yeah, there's a couple who hang a guitar in the back. I'm like, just use the fucking guitar. Don't have it in frame.
I had to like listen to this part again, and I'm still not 100% sure, but it sounds like she says constantly aware instead of constantly awake.
Do you have a timestamp?
No, I should have put a timestamp.
I agree. It doesn't sound like she says awake at all.
Okay, you found it. Thank you.
Yeah, like 3:15. I think is a good place. Might be a little early.
Oh yeah, it's for sure aware. Yeah. Would you say like 3:18, Alex?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 3:18. Yeah, I'm sure that's aware.
Which I mean, like, technically is still in line with the idea.
True,
But I think the juxtaposition of awake versus sleep is more on the mark.
yeah, I think that's pretty essential for this song,
Yeah,
especially.
because it's so direct, right? Like asleep,
Yeah.
awake, asleep, aware.
Yeah, you're missing.
Kinda,
You're not
not
understanding why
quite.
the words were chosen at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but knowing that this came out 6 days after the single, I can be a lot more forgiving than I was originally.
Yeah, for sure.
Like they probably didn't even like post the lyrics anywhere by this point,
Yeah, so this may be all just by ear.
which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and there's some good use of harmonies, backing vocals. I would like to see more from this song, though. It, like you said, John, just a bit one note.
Well,
Yeah.
Do we get more?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. Is that were you leading me somewhere with that?
In the next song,
Okay. We certainly get a different person. We get who I think is a big deal ish. Will Ramos, who releases this on March 10th, 2023.
You got me in a chokehold. You got me in a
the one and only Will Ramos. I don't know. He's apparently
Will Ramos is a pretty big deal.
Lorna Shore.
Yeah, so the vocalist for Lorna Shore, he is a young little boy. I think he's like 2 years younger than us. Was he 95?
94.
Yeah, Wikipedia
94.
says like 94, 95.
But
Oh yeah, so 1 year. Yeah.
I see 93 or 94.
Okay.
Also,
I thought I saw
Wikipedia.
94 or 95. Wikipedia's weird.
Indeterminate
Also, yeah.
age.
How many people do you know who are born in 2 years?
Yeah.
Well, it's a. So the thing says born 94 in the description, but then over in the like sidebar it says either 93 or 94.
Oh, yeah, you're
Like
right.
it's unknown.
You're right. Very strange. This man is either our age or slightly younger than us.
Or 2 years younger than some of us.
2 years younger than some of us.
Or not.
But he is the vocalist for for Lorna Shore. He could be older than you, the listener. I don't fucking know.
This person has an age.
Yeah, so he's been a singer for a bunch of metalcore and death metal bands and deathcore bands, according to Wikipedia. John, do you have any other like insider information on this beyond what I can get from Wikipedia?
Yeah, so he was the singer of another deathcore band called Awaken Providence. And Lorna Shore Lorna Shore did a tour with Awaken Providence, and were in the process of kicking out their current vocalist because he is a very, very problematic person. And they must have got to talking with Will on the tour because pretty much right after the tour, he left Awaken Providence and joined Lorna Shore.
Okay.
The Will Ramos version of Lorna Shore blew up in 2021. They, like when he joined, they very quickly went into the studio and recorded a single called To the Hellfire, which went viral on TikTok and YouTube, pretty much just because of Will's strange deathcore sounds he makes in the song. And
Okay.
I mean, if you look at like the views on the playlist we're looking at right now, he is very, very popular. Like the original Sleep Token music video has 10 million views, and then
Right.
Will's cover has 6.4 million views.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's insane.
And yeah, they kind of blew up when they joined together, and they're kind of like the face of deathcore right now, I'd say.
Okay. Are you a fan of Lorna Shore and or Will Ramos?
I love Lorna Shore and Will Ramos's covers, so that's why I was kind of like urging you to go for the Chokehold version instead of the summoning, because he hasn't covered the summoning.
Which worked much better because there's more covers for this song in general.
Few.
But yeah, so this is the fucking guy. He's the deathcore man.
Okay.
He is, yeah.
Yeah.
They blew up on TikTok, and so did Sleep Token. So like, there's some interesting like parallels between the two bands. But yeah, Lorna Shore has been very, very popular since 2021.
Okay. And so he records these in what looks like an igloo, some kind of ice chamber.
Yeah.
His sound deafening panels are white and very geometric. They look pretty cool.
Yeah, they look cool. He didn't go for the somber black backdrop. He went for the white with
very different.
Still more RGB lights in the background.
Yeah, he's kind of trying to hit that bisexual lighting. Doesn't quite nail it, but he's got one half of it there. And this is so. What was weird for me about this one is he doesn't credit where the instrumentals come from.
Oh no,
is
he
it
doesn't.
just the original track?
I don't know because in March, like 2 months. Did it sound? I felt like it sounded close, but not quite to the original track.
It sounds very, very similar to me.
Very similar, but tonally, I think there's a lot of differences. There's a bit of like karaoke cheapness in there. Not to say it's overall cheap, but I don't think it's the same as the original track.
But like the actual like arrangement is like basically the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say so, yeah. So like this is called a vocal cover. The video is called Chokehold Vocal Cover.
Yeah.
And so what we are focusing on here is Will Ramos's vocals, which were mixed, of course, by Agent Daddy-O.
Obviously.
Of course.
I wonder if the instrumental came from like one of those like AI vocal remover programs or something.
Oh, maybe.
I guess, if it's filtered, it could change the sound of the rest of it.
That would, modify the rest of the sound without losing the technical arrangement.
Because, like the full album wasn't even out at this point. I know Sleep Token put out instrumentals of their first 2 albums. I don't know if they've done it for Take Me Back to Eden yet, but either way, that official instrumental would not have been available at this point. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure. I mean, presumably he would also have connections and could have asked them, but I don't know if that's what happened here. Because, like you said,
maybe
it does sound a bit different.
Yeah. So for me, listening to this cover, I was like, okay, this guy's a solid singer. And then when he finally gets into, the gnarly vocals, I'm like, oh, okay, this is why we give a shit about Will Ramos. Like, this is where the money is.
That's what he does, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he has a surprisingly good singing voice for the kinds of sounds you hear coming from his mouth normally.
Right.
And he even said in the description of the video that Vessel's voice is right in his range, so he thought this would be a good one to cover. And
yeah,
he's got like that deep singing. He doesn't have the peculiarities of the original, which I don't think anybody really does. But it is in his range.
Yeah, and you can hear that he does that full maybe even goes a little lower on the word blade. He starts low and works all the way up.
All the way up, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I was impressed at like every version when they nailed that line pretty much.
Yeah. And I guess you touched on something here. I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong on this, a lot of bands will have the clean vocalist and the unclean vocalist.
Mm-hmm.
But Will Ramos can do both.
He can do both. He does not do both in Lorna Shore.
Okay.
And like they've explicitly said, despite Will Ramos being a very good singer, Lorna Shore will never have clean vocals. It's just always going to be deathcore harsh vocals. So it's quite neat that he's found obviously quite a successful outlet for singing, as his YouTube channel seems to be doing extremely well.
Yeah, and that's like, I think, I'm like, because for me, this doesn't really move the meter much, but I'm like, it's pretty clear that he's enjoying this and that people want it from him. So it's like, well, right on. And to hear the deathcore take on like the chorus was cool for me.
Yeah.
Alex, any hot thoughts on this?
I agree. It's pretty cool. Like that he does go into the unclean vocals, and I was like, it's going to be that, but then he doesn't do it on the next one. I was like, he's doing everything.
Yeah, tricks you.
It did make me think, like, give it like a kind of portfolio feel to me at first, but it sounds like he doesn't need that at all, so it probably isn't that.
Yeah, it seems more like he is successful and is just a 30 to 31-year-old who, does YouTube stuff.
I think you said it's like
cool.
It's like the metal thing of, I like this song, I want to sing along to this song and mimic it exactly.
Right,
because
and just like show that I can also do it. To the point that he also kind of does the British pronunciations on the words, but is from New Jersey.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is, apart from the harsh vocals bit over the chorus and bridge, it is extremely similar to the original, even down to the pronunciations, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
So I love his harsh vocals, and I was like still a little bit mixed on the amount of them he did in this one. I feel like I would have preferred it if he'd just done like the first line, like they do in the original, where they do like "You've got me in a," and then just cut it off. But because like he keeps going, he says like he repeats it a couple of times and then cuts it off. And, like, I guess he kind of has to. It's a vocal cover, and otherwise there would be, like 40 seconds of no vocals.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was more mixed on, like, that part than I was expecting. Like, I liked it when he did the first line, and then it just kept going. I was like, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it is interesting, because without having a band, he can't, like, reconfigure things to make like a really nice dirty vocal section. Mm-hmm. He just has to karaoke in this space.
Yes.
Which is like, he has to make a choice to either cut or try and improvise a bit in this one part he knows there's extra room.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm mixed. It's I can see why he did it. I didn't like absolutely love it, but I don't know. I think it's cool that he did harsh vocals at all, because I'm sure I'd heard this version before listening to the playlist, because I fell down like a big Lorna Shore rabbit hole earlier this year and last year, and like listened to a ton of his covers. But I'd obviously forgotten that he did harsh vocals, so I was like, oh yeah, this sounds like identical to the original. And then there was harsh vocals, so I was like, okay. But yeah, still not 100% sure on the amount he did.
Yeah. Now, if there was a Will Ramos cover you were going to point people towards, is there one that you can think of?
Oh, man. God, it would probably Rain by Sleep Token.
Okay, yeah. What's in his range?
It is in his range. Yeah, he's covered a lot of Sleep Token. It's not quite a cover, but he's featured on like a reimagined version of a Bill Murray track. Not the actor, Bill Murray.
Okay, yeah, keep going.
Okay.
God, Bill Murray is like the side project of the original guitarist of the band Attack Attack.
Okay, I think I've heard that name before.
And he just does weird, like, strange pop songs, which is like very different. But he has this sweet song. Oh, God, what the heck's it called? Something about Spudman or something. I need to look it up.
Okay, I'm already sold on Spudman.
Anabolic Spuds Man.
Yeah,
Anabolic Spuds Man.
And then
big boy.
So he had like that original song, and then he did the Thick edition, which features Will Ramos, and I liked that. That is like my go-to Will Ramos song.
Thick Spud Man, I got it.
Yeah, Anabolic Spuds Man, Thick edition.
Thick edition. All right, I have to listen to that. Man. But we've got to listen to a bunch more covers, including this one, which was released on YouTube later, but recorded on March 27th, 2023. It's Daughtry. You got me in chokehold. You got me in
Daughtry.
Daughtry.
Yeah. This is a reasonably popular group / person.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've heard the name. I don't know.
He was an American Idol finalist.
Yeah. I remember hearing the three of us, I think, went to a show one time in Calgary, and someone was compared to Daughtry, but I didn't know who Daughtry was, so I thought I said Daughtry, and I was like, this doesn't sound like The Who at all.
You didn't know their very first single, I had to look it up, but their very first single was massive when we were in junior high, I think.
Let me see.
It's called It's Not Over, and like I haven't heard it in years, and I can still remember it. And I remember listening to that quite a bit in junior high. I think it was just like on radio and stuff. Like I didn't really go out of my way to hear it. I definitely assumed you guys would know that as well, but maybe not.
No, I'm listening to it right now. I don't know if I've ever heard
Oh
this
my god,
in my
okay.
life.
I thought this was like a staple of our junior high experience, but maybe not.
It's sometimes my ability to evade pop music is phenomenal.
That is,
Yeah,
you know,
especially
more power
at that
to you.
point in time of my life when I was like, I need to not listen to anything made after, like, well, my idea was 1989, but also I didn't know some things were made after then that I listened to.
Yeah, you were like, I can only listen to The Who and Rush.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds about right.
Okay.
Yeah, so this guy, Chris Daughtry, finalist on the 5th season of American Idol in 2006. I kind of remember that because they were like, "Oh, this guy's a rock and roller. That's kind of crazy."
Yeah.
I see.
And yeah, like he's a rock and roller in the same way that Sleep Token is metal. It's like, kind of, but there's a lot of pop.
It's a lot. It's like that
just
alt rock
underneath the
sound,
surface.
kind of, but it's more like what we would just probably
is
call
that
adult contemporary. After
Old
a
time
certain
rock and
point.
roll? Is that what you're saying, Alex?
But like post grunge,
Post grunge for sure. Yeah.
Post grunge. So not the kind of music that just soothes the soul.
not the kind of music that just soothes the soul. The kind of music that I'm trying to reference the Goo Goo Dolls somehow. It's not working.
Iris.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a reference.
You're welcome. This is at the Royal Albert Hall, a venue that the Who have played at. So it's to bring it
there
all
you go.
around.
Nice.
There you go.
And it's Daughtry, but it really is just Chris Daughtry.
Yeah.
He opens up and says that he's going to do a song from one of his favorite London-based bands, and that this is just for him. He's going to be self-indulgent.
But also, like, if he's playing in London, they're probably more likely to know these guys there than anywhere.
True,
Yeah.
but they didn't seem to.
Yeah, there wasn't
Yeah,
like
fair
a
enough.
big
That's true.
cheer.
There was a small cheer. It was a small cheer.
I think they were just
Yeah.
cheering him, like, when he said, like, this is, like, just for me. This is me being self-indulgent. They're like, cool, yeah, clap, clap, clap.
Yeah, do your thing.
Yeah, they're like,
Chris.
we love you enough to let you do your thing. But
Yeah,
It
exactly.
didn't seem like there was a big name recognition on Sleep
I guess it
Token.
was probably still pretty early before they had really exploded.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah, like, both the singles were out at this point, but I imagine it wasn't just, like, a flick of the switch, and they
Yeah.
blew up. I'm sure it was a little bit more of a lead up to
Took some
the
time.
May release date of the album.
Yeah, absolutely. And this version, I mean, it's a pretty straightforward cover. He plays the acoustic guitar and he sings.
You're right,
It's
Alex.
very like chunky strumming, you know. I don't
Yes.
think
It's
it's say
almost like
as in-
cowboyish.
cowboy chords.
Cowboy
Yeah.
chords.
Chunky chords. Yeah. And yeah, obviously he can sing well, and
Yeah.
it'd be a fun moment at a concert, especially when someone's like, I'm gonna do this obscure thing. Like, I think that'd be fun at a show.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I did think it was funny. I've got an extension, a Chrome extension called vidIQ, which I use for YouTube analytics and SEO and stuff.
Mhm.
And something that it does is it tells me if a video has had the title updated. And I can see that this video was originally just called Sleep Token Cover by Daughtry. Because obviously the person who recorded it or submitted it did not know what the song was. And then it was
That's so insane.
and then it was changed in either April or August, I don't know, to Sleep Token Chokehold cover. So I just thought that was pretty funny.
That is pretty funny because then it's like, why did they isolate this moment and upload it?
Yeah, why did they? I mean, it's from the channel Live London Gigs.
Yeah. Very
Well,
interesting.
you think if nothing else would know about London bands.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't think there's that much crossover between Sleep Token fans and Daughtry fans.
No. Although I like There could be. Like,
There could be.
Yeah,
yeah.
maybe.
But yeah,
I don't think there's any reason for them to be like opposed to each other.
I guess, yeah. But you're right. It's just very strange that the channel would upload this song without really knowing what it was.
Yeah, it seems like maybe it was just a gamble on their part. They're like, maybe people are crazy about Sleep Token. Like, if Daughtry likes it, maybe others will like it online.
Spread the
True,
word.
maybe. I did notice that when he's talking in the intro, he sounds exactly like James Hetfield of Metallica when he's talking. Like, it's spooky.
Interesting. I would
Not
not
when
have
he's
made that
singing.
connection.
But, like, sounds exactly like him. It was very strange.
That's very interesting.
But like you said, it's just him, a microphone, and an acoustic guitar. Similar critique on my end as the Leah Moonchild version, where it doesn't ramp up. There's no dynamicism. Obviously, a lot harder to do in a live show, but
Yeah,
Presumably.
but he also has a full band
I was gonna
behind
say
him.
you've got a full band behind you. But no, it's just literally, like he said, a self-indulgent moment where he just stands there with an acoustic guitar and does an acoustic cover.
Yeah, and
Yep.
like there's some merits to it. Like he gets some good tone out of that guitar. You can get some of the kind of like drama from it. But yeah, we need a ramp up or something. We need to have things go a little crazy, and it just doesn't.
I agree. Yeah. And he doesn't do the brows. He just changes those to just strums.
Yeah, which is like a real, I think, missed opportunity. We were just talking about Leo last week, who did an acoustic cover of Slipknot's Duality.
Leo
And he
did.
does Leo did. He
Sick.
does the
Yeah.
riffs. Like, it's sick. It rules.
Okay, interesting. I'll look forward to that episode,
Yeah.
which is already
it's
out by
fun.
now. Go back and listen to it.
Yeah, go back and
Yeah,
listen.
check it
folks.
But yeah, he used a slide whistle to do some of those sounds, so that was fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So yeah, he fully commits to acoustic and to doing all these parts. It's a great cover. But yeah, just there's none of that here. It is, like you said, like he said, self-indulgent. It's fine because he's a pro. And like you said, Alex, it's kind of just neat to hear like somebody do a cover live.
And yeah,
But,
like, gotta
yeah.
forgive it a bit because it is live, but also, like you said, he does have a full band literally right behind him, presumably. Could have done something a bit more interesting with this version.
Yeah, even if you start out with the acoustic and then, which is kind of similar to what the original does, it starts out very down and then you hit the chorus and things start layering in.
Yeah.
It's like you could do the same thing here.
Yeah, I was very interested in this version when I just saw the name, like, on the playlist when he sent it to me. I was like, oh, how is, like, a rock / post-grunge version gonna sound? Like a guy with an acoustic guitar, apparently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
who knew? Got to give the band
That
a
is what it
bathroom
sounds
break.
like. Yeah, it could be that. A little. These guys got to take a break.
Yeah.
But we're talking about Christina Rotondo in April of 2023, April 16th specifically.
You've got me in a chokehold. You've got me in a...
Yeah.
Man, so many of these were so close. Like you said, like, almost like hopping on the bandwagon for, like, views.
Yeah.
Like, so close to the release of the original.
Yeah, hang on. Maybe I actually might have fucked up here. Let me see. Because I think the next one is actually. Yeah, whoops. That's supposed to be Gone for Good next, because they're
Oh.
March 29th.
Uh-oh.
Slightly earlier.
Let me try that again. So we're talking about Gone for Good, March 29th, 2024.
You got me in a chokehold. Oh, you got me
Who is a man named Joshua Canode. Or could be Canode if he's Italian.
Okay.
Could be.
Yeah.
So
What
he's
are these YouTube types?
this is something I found out this week. He is the former guitarist from Christian metalcore band Convictions,
Oh.
which is a band that I discovered this year, and they have one of my favorite albums of this year so far. So just
Ooh.
a very interesting connection that I did not know about before researching this week.
But he wasn't on this new one. You said former, right?
Yeah, I think he left in 2022 or 2023.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
So they got better after
I
he
like the
left.
band. Yeah, they're better without him.
Yeah, all I got on him, I'm surprised he even found this much, because I found just on his Spotify page, he says, like, I'm barely burning, and then it's just 55515.
Yes, I see 55515 on his YouTube account as well. Channel, I guess.
What does it mean, Alex?
I don't know what it means.
I was like thinking like
means.
maybe it's like a zip code or something, but like I googled it and nothing came up.
Okay, I thought it was maybe like you look at it upside down and it spells something, but there's no way.
Maybe it's like those touch type cell phones where you got like the 1 to 9. What does that spell?
Oh shit!
You can't really do it with just the numbers as easily.
Yeah, well, especially if he's saying like hit 5 3 times, then 1, then 5, or is it a 5 space, another 5 space, another 5?
Yeah, is it one of the letters from 5, another one of the letters from 5, another? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it means. It probably means something to him.
Probably.
Yeah, and that's good for him. So former Christian rocker, current, just kind of a dude, just kind of a YouTube musician.
Yeah, this was before the Christina Rotondo version.
Yes,
so
I fucked him up.
This was decently early then.
Yes.
Was it?
I've got March 29th as the premiered on date for the YouTube video.
That was 2024 though.
Oh, fuck me. I did have it right.
You did have it right.
We got to go back. Cool. Oh my god. Okay, one more time. We're doing Christina Rotondo 2023.
You've got me in a chokehold. You've got me in
That's how dates work, huh? All right. So this is also presumably in Italian.
I don't know.
Last name like Rotondo.
It sounds that way.
No, but she's from the UK, so how can she be Italian? Good point, John.
she could be. I mean, I don't know. Her accent did sound like English to me. But yeah, you're right. Presumably, she's got Italian.
Like the name seems
Italian roots. Totally has no impact on anything we're going to discuss. But she apparently sang the vocals for Doctor Who, like a Doctor Who song, I guess.
That's fun.
No, what?
It's on her like
Must have been on her website.
Instagram credits. So you go to her Instagram page.
Instagram.
Yeah, you know I'm stalking all these artists on Instagram.
Oh yeah, her show reel. She did the Goblin song from Doctor Who.
The Goblin song,
of course. That's insane.
Amazing. And she also does weddings.
And a lot of covers of groups such as.
She sings.
I was like, what does she do at a wedding?
Yeah, and you're like, how does she do it? It's wedding style. She's not doing like metal weddings.
I
She's
see.
not covering Bring Me the Horizon, The Amy Affliction, Architects, and more.
I mean, maybe if they ask for it. Yeah, that's kind of up to whoever's getting married.
I would probably ask for that.
Yeah, John would ask for that.
I like Bring Me the Horizon.
I've heard of Bring Me the Horizon.
Yeah, okay, like real like sidebar here. I think Youngblood that you talked about on the Kiss episode, I know him because he was on the most recent Bring Me the Horizon record.
Oh, okay. Everybody knows each other in metal, too, is the other thing.
Especially in the UK, it seems.
Yeah.
They probably know Christina Rotondo.
Probably. She gets around. Look at her studio in this music video.
Yeah. Nice studio.
It's pretty nice looking. Her light is natural in there, too. She doesn't even have crazy LEDs or anything.
Nice natural lighting. It's a good space for videos and photography. This is another vocal cover, folks.
Yes, it sure is.
And the vocals are courtesy of her. The instrumentals are courtesy of Belly Sing Karaoke.
Belly Sing Karaoke. Yes.
Like a YouTube channel. So if you are keen to sing along to this song, you can just do it on YouTube, baby.
Instrumental using vocal removal. So yeah, it must have been like the same thing that potentially the Will Ramos version had, just like one of those AI things where it takes out the vocals.
Yeah, just a different one.
Yeah.
Seems to be a similar idea, because it is also very, very close, right? Like it's the same arrangement, it's the same stuff. It's ripped from the song.
Yeah.
but it's a vocal focus. You can definitely hear like she's going down really low in the start. It sounds pretty cool when she goes down low, but it's definitely, you can tell it's like lower end of range, which is cool.
Yeah, she has a really good range because, like you said, she starts really low down. She nails like a really deep voice, and then she also goes all the way up on the blade line.
On the blade, yeah, she's
blade.
got that.
Yep.
Here's my question to you right off the bat: does she say "when we were mate"?
Like right at the beginning? I guess that's where that
Yeah.
line happens. It really sounds like it.
Yeah, kind of. That's definitely very a soft finish to that word.
Yeah,
When we were, mate.
mate. When we were mate. It's proof that she's British.
Yeah, she is definitely British.
When we were, mate. Yes, she does that. I mean, comparing it to Leah Moonchild, not just because they're both women, but because she does like more harmonies, and that seems to be like her part of her focus within the like vocal focus. Is just those different harmonies, and they sound really good. It's different tracks of herself, doing many things that I did not write down specifically.
Yeah, she's really knocking out, like, and this is my outdated touch point, like an Evanescence style vocal approach.
Oh yeah,
I don't think that's out of touch. I think that's pretty accurate, honestly.
Okay, right on. 'Cause, yeah, she's got this good range. She's doing these it feels very popular metal approach to it. So she's really like in line with what the original song has to offer, but putting, of course, the female vocal twist and her vocals on it.
Yeah, her presumably, like Will Ramos said, like their vocals are kind of in a similar range. So I think she's a good fit for this song, and I think she does a decent job of making it her own with all those extra harmonies and just backing vocals in general. But yeah, I think Evanescence is a pretty strong read on this. Honestly, I think there's decent similarities there.
yeah. But you don't want to wake up. You want to go to sleep.
Whoa!
Oh shit!
I know one Evanescence song.
I know maybe two.
I think I
Don't ask
just
me to
know
name the
one.
second one. I could swear they had two hits, but like, yeah, I could really only
Probably.
think of one.
They're probably like Daughtry. They got loads of hits.
They're probably doing Journey covers every night.
Yeah.
I did not manage to write down very many notes on this version.
No, I don't
No,
have
I
a lot of
think-
notes. Sorry.
Yeah, comparing to Leah Moonchild, like you said, Alex, maybe it's because she didn't have to worry about writing a piano riff, but yeah, like I do feel she goes all out on the vocals. The harmonies are good.
Yeah.
She really understands the vibe of the instruments and what the song's supposed to sound like. So yeah, it's a pretty well done professional take.
Yeah, and like there's not much to the music video. I mean, the video portion of this, it's like her recording in this recording space. But you do see like it does like split screen
Yes,
when
I
there's
like that.
harmonies,
That's right.
so you can see the different, like her recording the different tracks. So I think that's pretty cool.
And she also taunts us with an acoustic guitar in the corner.
Of course, you've got to have a guitar in the corner.
Now, what do you think that sound wave panel behind her says?
Ooh.
Like if you played that sound,
Yeah, if you were to play
What
those
would it be?
waves.
it would be wow, 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 wow.
Okay. I kind of looked at it. I thought it was That's Right, It's Cover Me, but I could be wrong.
Ooh, that's a good read. Do you think she's a fan?
She got to be, right?
You should ask her on an episode.
Yeah,
That would be probably too big of a get for us. For being, how many views she got on this? 21,000? Yeah, still too big for us.
Damn, yeah, she's got 91,000 subscribers.
Yeah,
And she has a
that's
band.
A few more than we have. Ooh.
a band.
Adeline, presumably.
I thought for some reason she was just talking about Adele. I was like, what the fuck's going on here? Adeline. That makes a lot more sense.
I didn't look into her band at all, but I saw she linked it in the description.
No, she's a real working musician. And this vocal cover works. But we got to talk about a guy who we've already kind of talked about a bit. I don't know how I'm going to cut this, if I'm going to try and make it look like I didn't fuck up. But it's becoming increasingly difficult to do that now that I keep talking about it. It's Gone for Good in March 29th, 2024.
You got me in a chokehold. Oh, you
No, we'll keep it all in because we already got
Yeah.
that good content about him being a Christian rocker.
Okay.
Yeah, this guy is actually used to be in one of my favorite Christian metalcore bands.
Shut up, Alex.
Oh, really? Which band is it, Alex? I know quite a few metalcore bands.
It's not important. It's not important.
Not important.
So he's from the band. He was in the band Convictions.
Was that the band you were thinking of, Alex, or was it a different one, more obscure, maybe?
Probably. Yeah, so obscure even I don't know them.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty obscure. So obscure you forget the name every time you're not looking at
Yeah.
it.
I think it's a hex.
That's
I
pretty
think
cool.
I'm cursed.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Love to get hexed by my Christian metalcore bands.
So this is a reimagined version instead of a straight cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, what makes it
What is-
reimagined?
Well, what makes it a reimagining?
It doesn't include any of the original instrumentals. He's like redone parts and he's
Okay.
I don't know, created like completely new parts for it.
Right.
Okay.
I guess that to me that would still qualify as a cover.
Yeah, I guess
would think
you're
so.
right. It's
I mean,
a more like transformative cover.
I think you just have to put something that sounds snappy for the title on YouTube, like pull people and be like, what does reimagined mean? It's like, it's the same thing as a cover. But like, you
Yeah.
say reimagined for marketing.
Yeah,
Right?
I agree. Sorry, I didn't
Right.
mean to like say like, oh, this is so different from every other version. It is definitely just a cover. But yeah, you're right. He just calls it a
Yeah.
reimagined
He
version.
calls it reimagined.
No, I just did want to know if there was a clinical definition
Oh no,
difference.
not to my
reimagining
knowledge.
But you are right in that he does kind of just suck out all of the arrangement and everything and drop in his own.
Yeah.
Like I don't think he does the riff or anything. Of course he sings the lyrics, but like everything else is kind of just pulled from what he wants to do. There's no like musical connection.
Yeah, which, I mean, and what does that sound like? At first, it's mostly guitar, right? Like
Yeah,
he's singing,
like-
and then like you get these like guitar chords, which are kind of. It sounds like they're really amplifying like the bass. So you can really hear the low end
Yeah.
on that guitar.
You see a
which
little bit of crunchiness.
is a nice sound. I happen to like that sound. And then, okay, so later on they switch to an arpeggio on the guitar, but sticking with the guitar, there's a bit, you see him in the video strumming really fast,
Mhm.
but like, I don't think the guitar is playing that part. I don't think
No.
I could hear anything there. The timestamp I have is 136.
Yeah,
But
I was
anyway, I'm
wondering
getting
that.
into the video. I'm getting ahead.
Because like
You're getting ahead.
yeah, like after the first verse, he like, or I guess in the bridge especially, it goes into like super synthy, super orchestral, with like the trap drum beats. And
Yeah.
Totally different sound.
I don't remember
All
like which part it is,
synthesizer.
but like there is a part where you just hear like all this synth, and you see him just like aggressively strumming the guitar, and I'm like, is he like playing the
Is he,
synth
though?
with the guitar? Like,
Yeah. It's so like that shot Alex is talking. It's so very clearly not anything because there's like a sustain going on in the music,
And he's,
he
like,
is,
strumming.
shredding.
yeah. Why would they do that in the video?
Listen, synchronizing audio to action. It's pretty tough.
It's pretty tough. I don't know. Yeah, like I saw it and I was like, oh, maybe he is just like running it through like a crazy filter to make his guitar sound like orchestral synth. But yeah, you're right. I think it's probably just unrelated.
Yeah. Now that synth that comes in, and I got another question to ask. But first, I got to ask: have you guys ever played the game Tetris Effect?
Which one is that?
No, I have not played Tetris.
That's
Effect.
kind of the newer one. It's probably old by this point. Released in, let me get a release date for you, 2018.
Okay.
It was like the new console one. It still has like online services going. It's Tetris, but like it looks modern and pretty.
Effective.
And it has like a kind of synth-y soundtrack, like that can have kind of grand scores like this, as well as more like, it's very eclectic, kind of world music-ish, but also some of this like what I would call epic synth, like epic orchestral synth.
Okay. You think
Mostly what I'm trying to say is this sounds a bit like Tetris Effect.
you think this wouldn't sound out of place in a Tetris
In
Effect
Tetris
level?
Effect.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah,
I
yeah.
see.
Like you're right. It is like super epic orchestral. Maybe
Yeah,
a
they got
little
like
bit video
the
gamey.
strings and stuff.
Yeah.
Chiptune, kind of like the simple waveforms. It has that too. It's got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, or like ending credits or something. Like the way that
Yeah.
synth like splashes in. It's like.
Yeah, it's a little.
Yeah.
Oh god, what's like the aesthetic, like synthwave, a little bit.
Yeah.
Little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a cool sound. I like it. Like if it was just synth, it would be okay. But then like it's got like the orchestral elements as well. I don't know. I think it's a neat sound.
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting what he tries here. I wasn't crazy to go back earlier to the auto tune you hear on his voice when he does the blade part.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just that particular sound. Yeah, it's really notable, which I guess is similar to the original, but not on that part. So, like,
Yeah,
like
it
that
just
is
seems like the blade
present.
part. Everybody else has used it to flex their vocal range, including on the original. And for here, it seems like Gone for Good just realized he couldn't do that. It's like, oh fuck,
Fuck! I gotta auto tune it.
gotta auto tune it and make it sound like an artistic choice rather than just a crutch.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it probably is. It's a really hard bit to deliver. But yeah, that obviously begs the question of why would you cover it if
you can't.
you can't nail it?
Clout.
Yeah, Clout, buddy,
I
he's
don't know.
reimagining it. Okay.
It's true.
But
True.
like his voice does fine most of the time, because I guess most of the time there's not like large range. And he does kind of the, like harsher vocals at times.
Yeah,
It's a bit shouty.
he does
At times.
kind of eventually do harsher vocals.
Yeah, later on. So it kind of does still have that build. In particular, there is like climbing back up. I think during the like second verse on the "Show Me That Which I Cannot." That line, there's like a drum roll that starts and then kind of like builds into the next part. So it does have like a pretty good series of crescendos to build across the song. That's pretty effective.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I think it's like the second verse, like after the bridge and chorus. I guess it goes back down to just like the guitar strums and the vocals, and then. I don't, like all my notes say second half of second verse, but I think we decided to call that the pre-chorus. He brings back the synth, and like Alex said, like the drum rolls. I wrote like marching drums, but I don't really know how to describe them. But yeah, he does build back up throughout. You know, like he peaks with the first chorus, drops back down, and then builds all the way back up for the second chorus, and then again drops down completely at the end to just the vocals and guitar.
Yeah, so he does have dynamics, which is something a lot of the covers have been missing.
Yeah.
Is that like quiet to loud to back again.
And I think that's apparently one of the things I really look for in covers of this song is just that dynamicism, which is absolutely present in this version.
Yeah. So yeah, I did find this one interesting. I liked some of the instrumentation. I'm not knocking it by saying it sounds like Tetris Effect. Tetris Effect is a pretty good soundtrack. Yeah, that marching drum, I noted that as well. Yeah, and then we kind of end. It kind of felt like it was a montage sort of music. Again, that epic feel. You could do like the planet turning and then like flowers like blooming and dying kind of thing. It feels like a lot of fast footage you could play over it.
Like sped up time lapse stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would fit pretty well.
Yeah, good energy, and different enough from the original that it feels like a cover.
Yeah.
It might have been the most different, if not for our next cover.
Yeah, time to go out on a high note.
Nice.
Yeah, buddy. And that high note is TokenGrass, who released this on June 23rd, 2024.
Y'all got me in a chokehold. Hey, y'all got me in
What a version. So he's a guy, he's been doing this not that long. He's got, 4 videos, I think, at the moment?
Yeah, this was
yeah.
the first video on their channel.
Yeah.
From
And
3
he's
months
released
ago.
3 more since.
Yeah.
And has just kind of found this bit. As you might guess from his name, he does bluegrass-ish covers of Sleep Token songs.
But also TokenGrass? Anyway.
Like smoking weed,
It's
Alex.
like a pun.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I was despising the name, but I guess if you take it as a pun like that, yeah, it kind of makes sense.
It's
I
ridiculous.
did. I was like, why is it? Because it doesn't like combine bluegrass that effectively with Token. But yeah, hearing now that it's like smoking weed. Yeah.
I honestly didn't even pick up on the Token part, and I just thought they were a bluegrass band at first until I actually looked them up.
I was like, why aren't they
But, yeah.
sleepgrass or something? Like, why are you taking the second half of both words?
Yeah.
But yeah, if it's a marijuana joke, then
Hell yeah.
I'm more forgiving of the name.
Yeah, I'm on board now. This version rips. I fucking love this.
It's fun.
I went back and forth on loving and hating this version like the whole week. And because when I first listened to this playlist, I just listened to the audio, like on my commute to and from work.
Right.
And then for the notes, I made sure I watched the videos. And when I watched the video and I saw this guy just jumping and dancing around, I was like, yeah, this is amazing.
Yeah, he gives it his all. He's wearing the masks. I quite like his first outfit where he's got 2 fucking cobs of corn on his shoulder and a baseball cap that says cowboy hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Phenomenal.
His mask is like made out of literally just paper and marker.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
cheapo versions. It's just like draped in a lot of black fabric. Playing this guitar really fast.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, like fast strumming of a few strings, that kind of like high and tight sound. You get in some bluegrass stuff. And then like comes in with this snare, like really like driving thing. Again, funny outfit. He's wearing a tiny cowboy hat.
Yes. Which is even funnier after seeing the baseball cowboy hat.
Yes.
Where it's like, he had a cowboy hat.
one.
I guess one other note. We already have vocals at this point. It's very like bluegrass, like southern twang.
It's twanged
like
up.
this could be
So
like
over the
Hasty
top.
Dixie, basically. Like it's that style of like really like, yeah, American bluegrass sound.
American bluegrass, baby.
definitely.
And to the point where that the chorus is now, y'all got me.
Yeah,
Chokehold.
y'all got me to Chokehold. Very funny.
It is
Very
very funny. He goes like so like thick accent on certain words, and yeah, just the chorus, y'all got me in a chokehold.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Totally changes the tone of the song.
Absolutely.
It just sounds like something you say to your friends at like a saloon, like, y'all got me in a
Y'all got me in a
chokehold.
chokehold.
Guess the next round's on me.
Take another drink.
Yeah, you're right.
I also like, so the banjo comes in after that. There's 4 parts to this song.
Yes.
The banjo, snare drum, the acoustic guitar, and then there's an upright bass.
Yeah.
Banjo comes in. Interesting. Banjo's playing chords. He's like picking chords. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
So
and
that's
I don't
cool.
regularly hear that, and it sounded almost like dissonant or off key to me.
Yeah.
Section.
It does sound. It's like a harsh part. It's very.
Mhm.
It sounds somewhat discordant.
Yes.
And that's cool. It's a cool sound. And then later on, it does some of the like bending sounds by like moving.
By
he, like, uses
moving the tuner
tuners,
there.
yeah.
I'm just watching that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's
cool.
what I was talking about earlier when I said like somebody like does like that bending part in a very unique
Yeah.
way that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, like I
The
heard it. And
banjo.
I was like, oh yeah, he's just pulling on the strings or whatever. And I watched the video and I was like, holy, look, he like tunes it like each time. It's really cool.
Yeah, A on a
That's
banjo, B by retuning the banjo.
Yeah, like every time.
Or, changing the tension on the string. And he's wearing a chicken hat.
He's wearing
I
a
just
chicken
wanted to
hat
mention
as the
that.
banjo man. And as the stand-up bassist or upright bassist, he has a big old beard.
Big beard.
Yeah,
fun.
if you've only heard the audio, do yourself a favor and watch the video because the video
Yeah, I say
adds
you
a
gotta
lot
watch
to
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all
He's
got
having a
like an
lot of fun.
old-timey film grain over it.
And it's also vertical. Like they obviously meant for this to be like a TikTok kind of video.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
absolutely.
Or like a YouTube short or whatever. So, they tried to market it. But yeah, the video adds a lot, I think.
It does. And like the composition, like they really do hit it. Once we hit verse 2, it's like all the instruments are in now, so we got more energy. Jangly banjo
yeah.
is that's
Yeah, actually doing the picking.
Yeah,
Adds a bunch of harmonies in the second verse, which
that's right.
sounds like a hootenanny.
It does.
It sounds like a fucking hootenanny
It
to
does
me.
sound like a hootenanny. Yeah, it's just like at that
sick
point,
as
it's just
hell.
like full bluegrass, lots of guitar strumming, tick 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 driving rhythm, all that good stuff. Yeah, very amusing. I also wrote that as convincing. I'm not sure why I wrote that, but I'm gonna stand by that.
Convincing.
Yeah,
I'm convinced.
Okay. It's also
In that, like, it feels genuine, or
yeah, maybe. I have no idea.
okay.
because I do feel like the buy-in from this guy is he's all in, and he's playing all the instruments. It's one dude, like, so it feels very much like a project of love and like a fun take rather than like a piss take necessarily. Although he does take the piss a bit, but I think it's clear he's got a love of bluegrass and Sleep Token to do this.
Yeah, I
you
think
kind of have to.
he's doing it as a fan, I would say.
Mhm.
It's not it's not mean-spirited. Like, it's definitely a parody, but he's obviously enjoying himself, and he's taken the time to compose this bluegrass version for all four instruments and tweak the vocals and stuff to make it fit a much faster version. Yeah, I think it is it's a great version.
It's a great version. Especially when we've been hearing just so many like straight vocal covers and stuff. It's like, okay, here's a guy who took some time to actually put things together. About a year and a half later, we're starting to get some like inspired covers.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. Like, the first year was pretty much just, here's my vocal cover over a YouTube karaoke version for YouTube. Now we can start seeing some more creativity now that the album's been out for a while.
Had some time to sit with it. Yeah, honestly, if we had done this in 2-3 years, probably the first cover would be Gone for Good.
Gone for Good, probably,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Be interesting to see how the playlist would have changed in a couple of years.
Yeah, hey, maybe we'll do it. We'll see if Cover Me's still going and keep it in 2 years. But we got to get to our final verdicts, of which there are 3 categories today: the worst version, the best version, and the most religious version. Sleep Token, of course, a religious band.
Mm-hmm.
What religion? We're not sure, but certainly religious. But first, John, what is the worst version of this?
What is the worst version? I'm gonna give it to the Daughtry version. I feel like I should be a little bit more forgiving on it than I am because it is live, but it kind of... I feel like for you guys, or especially, I feel like your like lowest tier of cover is always going to be a cappella.
Yes.
But I think for me, my lowest tier is always going to be sad acoustic guitar versions, and so this comes in like perfectly for me. Like, I don't love acoustic guitar versions. It's just him. He's got a whole band behind him. He could have done more interesting stuff. It doesn't ramp up. It just stays slow and acoustic the whole way through. And yeah, this one did not do it for me.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair. It's a misallocation of resources, I think, on his part to have a full band and then just strip down this song to just a guitar and vocals.
Yeah, especially when it could have evolved. He had literally all the parts needed for it.
Yeah, they could have like come back on stage throughout the song. Sometimes you do that.
Would have been cool.
They still have time to pee or whatever.
Yeah. Now, Alex, what's the worst version of this today? The worst version of Chokehold.
The worst version of Chokehold. I think I have to agree, because that's the one that like really didn't do anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
Even the other ones that kind of didn't, like, they're like, this is my unique vocal thing that I do, whereas this one doesn't have that.
Yeah.
So as much as I don't necessarily love the just vocal covers, like, they have some merit because they're trying to push a slightly different style or something, but this one just doesn't have any of that. And it would be fine to see, and sometimes I try to be more lenient on ones that are live, but like this one just doesn't really do it.
Yeah, I think we're in agreement here. Like, yeah, like you said, Alex, it'd be pretty easy to just be like, wow, the vocal covers, they only do the vocals. and that's kind of cheap. But like honestly, like Christina Rotondo did really good production on her vocals, and Will Ramos kind of has an easy in by throwing in dirty vocals, even just for the time he did it. Like you're like, well, that's much more different. Like that's something unique. But yeah, the dude with an acoustic guitar singing a song straightforward take, it's a bit tired. Like yeah, it's the worst version. But what's the best version, John?
This was pretty tricky. Mainly because there's two real covers, you know.
Yeah.
Just for personal preference, I loved the Gone for Good version. The synth, the orchestral parts, just absolutely did it for me. Like I heard it on the train on the way to work, and I was like, "Holy yeah, this is a cover finally."
Finally, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. My best version was Gone for Good.
Solid choice, Alex. Best version.
Yeah, I think I would more or less agree with that, with the possible exception of I feel like Leah Moonchild has a decent claim. But
yeah, for being the first
to
release, she does put in a strong effort.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think I gotta give it to TokenGrass. It was just so much fun.
Hell yeah.
Let's fucking go, boy.
Y'all got me in a chokehold.
Y'all got me in a chokehold. Yeah, so funny. And we've done these kind of like parody acts in bluegrass genres, like Hasty Dixie, and there's other ones we've done. So, like, we've been to this well quite a few times, but TokenGrass had the energy, had the juice.
Yeah,
it's great. I love it. Yeah. Absolutely. My favorite as well, Alex. My best. John, what's the most religious, though? Which one are you taking to church? Whatever denomination that church may be.
You know, I'm going to give it to TokenGrass because I feel like, especially the video, it kind of conjures this. I think it's probably because of like the filter they've got going on, but it really conjures this, like I said earlier, like this hootenanny barnyard kind of feel. And I feel like they wouldn't be out of place on stage in like a little church dinner in like this Midwest town or something like that.
The American South or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is some sort of communal feel to that, even though it is just one guy playing all the parts.
Yeah, I don't know. I could see them, up on stage in the town hall. Everyone's just come from church or whatever. Yeah, that's the one I'm going with.
That's beautiful. Alex, what's it going to be?
I almost want to say Gone for Good, just because I know the guy was in a Christian group. But I
playing
think,
in the church basement.
I think I'm going to say Leah Moonchild, because I know that this style would clean up at a church function.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wonder how the church function would feel about the sort of violent nature of being in a chokehold.
Yeah. And also the song technically being about like false god.
Clean it up a bit so the Christian religious references are stronger. Change Chokehold to Bear Hug, and you've got a fucking hit.
Got me in a
I want a full Christian cover.
I would love that. I guess I'll round things out for the religiosity and pick Gone for Good. Former Christian metalcore band member, current just Christian, maybe.
Yeah, I guess.
Maybe.
He's cleaned up. They used to do, I don't know if they still do. And I say this like I went to these kind of shows, but church basements often will have, bands play there for the kids, and you get Christian rock. Christianity, weirdly enough, plays more in the hard rock genres than it does in like softer genres, at least for the youth.
Yeah.
Because it seems a bit more exciting as a youth. I think.
They got to connect with the youth, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, so Gone for Good is kind of expanding that.
At youth
What'd you say, Alex? Sorry?
A youth group. Because I used to go to a youth group.
Oh, yeah.
With
of course.
Church. And we went to a performance, and it was like the rapping priest. I don't remember. He probably had a name other than that, but that was like the subtitle was like, he's a priest and he raps.
So-and-so the rapping priest.
He was like, this is why I think that abortion is bad. And I was like, I don't like this show.
Alex, who was actively giving abortions at that time.
I feel personally attacked.
It's about me. But that is our final verdicts. If you got different opinions, similar opinions, want to talk to us about a version we didn't talk about, hit us up on the app formerly known as Twitter. Hashtag CoverMePod, at SnakyMe, at some Alex Wise Guy. You can also at Sir Jon Snow this time. Send us your comments, questions, concerns, suggestions for future episodes. You can also email those to us at covermepod@gmail.com. Talk to us there. John, one more time for the people. What are you doing? Where can they find that?
I run a gaming channel on YouTube where I upload gaming videos every about 3 days right now. You can find that at youtube.com/noiseberrygames, or if you just go to noiseberrygames.com, it'll take you right to the channel.
That's right, people. And that's gaming videos is broad, but he does like reviews, he does let's plays, he does it all there, man.
It's true. Thank you.
It's true. I was watching your not great Ace Attorney. What is it? The prosecution
Ace Attorney
investigations. Yeah, I was watching that the other day.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
Got to pick that up. Thank you. But those links are all going to be in the episode description, so you can go there, subscribe to John at all his many channels and Twitter and wherever. Get your John content. Get your John on. I say, hell yeah.
That's what they say.
John Con. That's what they say. And after you've done that, you can rate and review us. We're on all the apps. We are on Amazon Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, kind of sometimes, Spotify, Podurama, Pocket Cast, Podbean. Tell your friends, family, neighbors, loved ones. Get the word out there. What you can really do this week to get the word out there is start a cult, baby. Start it up. Obviously, it's the thing to do. Really get people in. The thing about starting a cult is like it may be tougher to get people in, but once they're in, dude. So if we've got a literal cult following, we're really going to have a chance at keeping the show going. So get the word out there. Start buying cloaks and masks, folks. It's time. Now, traditionally, when we have a guest, we have a bonus segment. I forgot to prepare one, so oops.
I was hoping to prepare one, and I've just been so busy. I did not have time, so I would like to do one at some point. So I've got an idea, but I'm sorry, I did not get it for this one.
That is totally okay. I did not expect you to do that, but I appreciate you putting the effort in. So the bonus segment this time will be something John and I discussed off air while Alex was taking the fattest dump. Alex, what Journey song do you think that Daughtry regularly covers live?
Is there an answer to this song? Or is
Absolutely.
This just The Wheel in the Sky.
Good guess. Incorrect.
Okay, can I guess
I'll give you two more
one?
guesses. Yeah.
Open Arms.
No, also a good guess.
All right.
I'll give you one hint before this last one. There are brackets in the title.
Ooh.
Separate Ways, Worlds Apart.
Yeah.
Hey, you got it, folks. Yeah. Alex, you've won today's bonus segment.
Yes, Alex.
Congratulations.
Well deserved.
Well deserved. John, thank you so much for coming on the podcast with us.
Thank you very much for having me, and thank you for doing a song that was very, very out of both of your wheelhouses.
Thanks
Truly,
for
it was a
suggesting
delight
it.
to do.
Yeah, that's
thank
great.
you for the suggestion.
It was super fun.
So great. And that does it for today's episode of Cover Me. And as we always say on Cover Me, so show me that which I cannot see, even if it's Cover Me.